ultimately we offer flexible space on flexible terms, and if that is what the market views as the way forward to de-risk the situation they're in currently, then yes, I think there's an opportunity for flexible workspace to do really quite well out of it. The key, of course, is what's the impact in the short term for us. So is there going to be a downward trend in all office space in London because remote working clearly is effective? The flip side, of course, is the same space that would seat 10 people now seats 5. So that's a positive for us in one hand, because you need more space to seat the same number of people. The reality is we're not quite sure how this is going to land. Yes, we would expect to see an increase in demand for flexible space, such as ours, but we're not quite sure of the impact on our existing customer base yet. So we're not entirely sure how our current customers will change their behaviours. In the short term, it will be hugely disruptive because people will clearly be anxious about going into any communal commercial property anyway. So it's about building confidence for those customers. But the long term looks positive. I mean, anything where customers can have increased flexibility and ultimate control over their spending, and office space is a key cost to all companies. That's got to be a good thing for the industry and for our sector. So I think congestion will be reduced, but it's frustrating on one hand because one of the key selling points of our business centres is that they're quite busy and bustling. They create a lovely atmosphere and vibe for customers. We're under obligation to remove the amount of traffic we have in our communal area. And I don't think that will go away quickly. I think there'll be a commitment to keep that space clearer than it was before. Everything is ultimately going to change in the short term. So conducting viewings, for example, on site. We have been doing virtual viewings up until now, with one of our sales guys effectively roaming around the unit and demonstrating to the customer what that could look like. Any business which has any form of communal space is going to have to adapt and make sure that the guidelines that the government imposes on us are met. There's no doubt about that. In the longer term, we are expecting things to go back to normal. What that looks like and when, obviously, is a $1 million question. But I'm sure a vaccine, as and when and if that comes to fruition, would be the key to, getting things back to normal. I think it's been a great year for workspace, and actually a great year for the flexible work sector in totality. Flex space was one of the key buzzwords, has been in the property sector for probably the last 4 years. Is it a turning point for our sector? Probably. There'll certainly be more larger companies, enterprises perhaps, that want to reduce the risk of operating such large office spaces. We've been in this game for quite some time, so there's no dramatic growth expectation, I would have thought, on the back of the coronavirus pandemic. But overall, one should argue that there would be an increase in demand for flexible workspace. Ultimately, flexibility gives customers control, and we operate in that flexible space. So, yes, in the short term, I mean, you've probably seen in the press, but we're offering 50% rent reductions at the moment until June, and clearly that has an impact on our income. But we completely think that's the right thing to do. It's important that we help support those businesses and give them the best opportunity to start operating again, effectively after the crisis. So, yes, short term, clearly there's a challenge for us from an income perspective, but the mid to long term, it really is positive, because flexibility is already popular and likely to be even more popular as larger companies look to reduce the risk that they have on their long leases. It's exciting times. Anything that puts pressure on the employer to improve their workplace is a good thing for an operator and an owner like us. So we're pretty confident that the office has still got an important role to play. I would say, as well, so I've enjoyed working from home. I'm quite looking forward to getting back into our office and seeing some colleagues.